this is a lovely little project if you've got, maybe you've been on a trip like I had when I went to the Himalayas, and you've got some photographs and you want to pop all your little photographs into a little pull-out album like that, that then all folds back into itself, and you can just do the nice little wrap to go around the front. So let me show you how to make it, okay? First of all, I'm going to do the mechanism bit inside. So you're going to need 5 pieces of cardstock, and they are all 4 inches deep, and I've done them by 8 1/4, okay? And the reason we do them in 8 1/4 is because I'm going to score this at 4 inches and 8 inches, which means we should have just a little 1/4 inch gluing flap. So if we give them a nice fold and burnish, that little gluing flap, I'll just pop inside, and you want to put your tape down here and then pop this over and just give that a nice burnish so that it's nice and really well stuck, okay? So let me show you another one of them. I've done the score lines. So I've got my little 1/4 inch gluing flap, and I'm just going to pop my tape down the edge there, or you could use red liner tape. And then once we've got that in place, that folds over, tucks in, and then I just like to give it a bit of a crease. So you need however many of those that you've got photos for, and I've done 5, right? Now, to connect them together, this is the clever bit. You're going to cut some strips of card, and your strips of card only need to be 1/2 inch wide, but they want to be 8 inches long. And then what we're going to do, we're going to score at 2 inches and turn it around and do 2 inches again. So what you'll have is, when we fold this over, is we should have something just slightly longer than what this is. So you see, if I take this in, this should just wrap through and wrap around there. And just make sure that you've got enough give in those wrap pieces so that they'll slide along the front of the card, okay? Here's the bit where we're going to come to connect them on, right? So we've got our base one. We're going to fold these in right up to the edge. Now if I open this one out, you put tape on the top of this one. And then we're going to slot the second piece, so in this case I'm going with the yellow, and it sticks to the yellow. So it hasn't stuck to the pink, it's free on the pink, it's stuck to the yellow. I'm going to fold this in. I'm going to pop glue on the bottom of there. And then that will tuck inside. This is the only little faffy bit. We're going to get that inside here. And once it's inside, I'm going to stick that down and then give it a nice burnish. And that should have our 2 connecting together, all right? So let me show you that again. If I get the next one, so again, this is scored at 2 4 inches, so it's going to wrap around. Make sure you've got yourself enough give that that's going to slide nicely. Bring the next colour, so I'll get the green. You're going to pop the glue onto here. The green will slot on and stick in place. Fold over. Glue will come on the bottom. And then we're going to take that, and it just goes inside. And once it's in, you give it a nice stick down. And then just make sure they're all moving nice and freely. And we'll do the same with the last 2. So as you saw before, fold these pieces over, give them a nice burnish, glue on the top, into place. Fold down, and then glue on the bottom. And I'm just, I can see I've got my little mechanism piece there, so I'm just being very careful to catch it all in. Got my little fold, because you want them to be able to move. The trick is the more freely they move, the better your mechanism will work. And trust me, this is one of them projects whereby once you've made it a couple of times, you'll get better at it. All right? So sometimes cut yourself a little bit of slack. I want to put that last piece on. And then the last piece will go in. There we go. And that is then ready to add the photos. So I've got one here that I've added the photos to. So you can see they're exactly the same. We've got the mechanism with all the photos added on. Just got to give you've got to give the glue a little bit of time to dry with the photos. I used a tacky glue. And then we want to make the wrap to put them all on. So for my wrap, I've got a little bit of card, and this cardstock is 9.5 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall, so just a little bit bigger. And we're going to score it at 4.5 and 5 inches. It's going to give me a nice gusset on the side here. Now, on the front panel, I've just done a little bit of decoration there. Start each day with a grateful heart. And you might want to put another photo on the front or whatever you fancy. And we're just using that all-purpose to manoeuvre into place. And then I've got a little panel for the inside as well. There we go. So, to make the mechanism slide nicely, I've just got a little piece of card here, so I'm going to fold over and make a little pulley. So pop tape on both edges. It's just going to form a little pulley on the side there. And again, you want the all-purpose, or even tacky glue would be great for a really, really good stick onto the base. And you just want to leave it to dry before you go having a bit play with the pulley. And a brilliant tip on these pulleys is if you ever find they're sticking a little bit, get a tea light or a bar of soap out and just rub along the edge, and it'll just make everything manoeuvre into place a little bit easier. And that is your finished project.